G'day folks, this video looks at which are better out of the Pure Sessions or the studio albums. G'day folks, Jeff here, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a video suggested by one of my good mates, Joshy P, ex-Canberra, now Japan. Came up with this grand idea, so yeah, he's legendary mate from he was in quality bands Deadfield, The Bloody Vice, and of course Nuclear Toilet. So thanks Joshy, love your work. So yeah, he came up with the idea of basically comparing the various Pure Sessions of mostly metal and grindy sort of bands with the studio versions of, you know, the same songs. So I thought, why not? That sounds like a grand idea. I've got a batch of Pure Sessions, mostly, as I said, grind and death sort of stuff. There's a couple that aren't, but so yeah, the Pure Sessions were basically broadcast on the radio by John Peel, legendary old British DJ. And I mean, these Peel Sessions, they ran from 1967 to 2004 when he passed away. So they got so many different bands did these. I mean, I'm focusing on my usual style, this one, but there were Peel Sessions by, Thin Lizzy, Nirvana, The Cure, Fleetwood Mac, Aphex Twin, the Bee Gees, David Bowie, even Hendrix did a Peel Session. So they were usually, I mean, these were all recorded in the BBC studios, so which for the grindy sort of stuff we're about to discuss could be a good thing. So because yeah, they kind of knew what they were doing. So generally it was 4 songs, per session. So some of the grindier bands just like slapped various songs together and made 4 compilations of songs. So yeah, there's some damn fine stuff out there. I have very little of the non-metal or non-grindy sort of stuff. So yeah, I don't know the quality of that. I'm sure it'll be pretty bloody good. Now, a batch of these, not everything, I like, because yeah, I'll put a link to the to the Wikipedia page that lists them all the bands, and there's a lot. Like, I mean, I went for, what's that, nearly 40 years, so, and I think it was like weekly pretty much, so Pierre would play them on air, and but they did also release some. So him and a guy called Clive Selwood formed Strange Fruit Recordings or Records in like 1986, and put a batch of them out themselves. I always kind of thought they were iffy legally, but I think it's because there's a shitload of bootlegs of versions of them on Discogs, so they're sort of blocked from sale. I kind of thought they were dodgy, but no, I don't think so. I mean, the bootleg ones are obviously, but not the legit ones. And stuff like Godflesh, they all have that particular sort of cover that you would have seen on the thumbnail that you'll see shortly. And yeah, there is a Godflesh one listed like that, but it's there was never a back in the 90s when it was actually recorded Godflesh release, so I think that one's a bit dodgy. It's blocked for sale, so that ain't happening. So I have a batch of these. I still need more. There's I think there was 2 Hardcore Holocaust compilations that were mostly British grindy sort of bands. A lot of which I have anyway on the specific band ones, but they've also got ones for, songs by Stupids and Doctor and the Crippins and Deviated Instinct. And I think Doom, like the crust punk band, have a double Peel Session one that I don't own, so I might have to track that one down at some stage. Plus, I mean, as I said, there's a whole lot of non-metal artists as well, like Scorn, who I think at the time they did like a 94 one that is, what's that, Colossus sort of era, so not really metal, but that's on what is it, Animesis or something or other, compilation that I don't own, so I might try and track that one down. But of the ones that I own, there's some damn fine stuff. So yeah, as I said, just comparing it to the proper studio version, some of these are, there are some that are obviously better or not as good sort of thing, but there's a batch that are not quite sure really, but both sound good sort of thing. So anyway, let's get into it. Also, if you hear some thumping going on, there's some possums playing funny buggers on the roof tonight. I recorded my intro before and suddenly there was this long thumping on the roof. We have a corrugated iron roof here, so you can hear a lot of stuff. I mean, Rain is very loud, but yeah, big fat possums chasing each other are even louder. So I think we have some. So if you hear some weird thumping, that's probably what it is. But I'll start by mentioning this one. This is a Earache released their artist sort of ones, of which makes up a bulk of what I'm about to talk about, really. So this is a 3 CD set that has, the Pure Sessions by Napalm Death, Extreme Noise Terror, Carcass, Bolt Thrower, Godflesh, Unseen Terror, Heresy, and Intense Degree. So a lot of what I'm about to discuss, but not all of it. So it's a very useful little thing. It's got a really cool little, liner notes written by Mick Harris from Napalm, and yeah, he's an amusing chap. So I recommend this to a point. This is very brick-walled, so this is recent, it's like 10 years old or something, so it's, remastered apparently, but which just seems to be jack the volume up massively. So I do actually suggest tracking down the proper versions of these. I mean, not everything on here actually had a release. I don't think, Godflesh, Heresy, and Intense Degree, none of those were actually released before this, I don't think. I mean, they were broadcast on air, obviously, but they didn't have their own record version or something. But the other ones, I think the proper LP versions sound better. So, but yeah, this is still, I would highly recommend getting this anyway. I mean, I'll put links to this below as well. You can listen to it on Bandcamp as well. But it's still very useful to have, despite being brick-walled. So, yeah, keep an eye out for this one. All right, first up, we have the mighty Bolt Thrower. They did 3 Pure sessions. Interestingly, the first one's actually with their old singer, Alan West. The second 2 are with Carl, the usual singer. So you get 3 different eras, actually, with these. Like, the first one's recorded in January 88, and it's basically In Battle There Is No Law songs, which was recorded about 5 months later. So they sound pretty bloody similar, really, but marginally different. Like, not quite as heavy sounding. The guitar tone isn't quite as scary sounding. Plus, Alan has a kind of thrashy, almost sounding voice, or kind of like, I don't know, venomy sounding almost. But so yeah, obviously it sounds like Concession of Pain, the '87 demo that he was on, with quite a bit better sound. This bodgy bloody version of the various old Bolt Thrower demos and Paradise Lost for some reason just slapped together. Plus, I do have this on CD for some stupid reason as well. But so yeah, they're pretty interesting to hear, especially if I'm not the hugest fan of In Battle There Is No Law. I might have the nice T-shirt, but yeah, it's one of my lesser favourites of Bolt Thrower. I much prefer the next couple of albums. But it's interesting to hear the version on this. It sounds pretty clear. Although, if anything, it's a bit too nice sounding almost, a bit too sort of clean. Yeah, the album version with Carl, and yeah, it's nasty as hell. Much deeper sound, also sloppier somehow, but I guess that's kind of half the charm. So for that, you get 4 songs: Forgotten Existence, which is pretty killer, Attack of the Aftermath, Psychological Warfare, and probably the best song, In Battle There Is No Law. The next session was recorded in November 88, and then this is all Realm of Chaos songs, which was recorded in April 89. So pretty earlier versions of them. On that, you get Drowned in Torment, Eternal War, Realm of Chaos, a song, and Domination, which is the kind of the weird song on here. It's apparently they reused sort of part of it for Prophet of Hatred, and yeah. You might think, ooh, unreleased Bolt Thrower track, but I could see why they sort of cannibalized it for a different song, because it ain't that flash. But yeah, it still sounds pretty cool. I think Eternal War is probably the highlight on this. I mean, yeah, those songs friggin' rule. As with the Napalm Death Peel sessions, the drums are a little too loud. I wonder if it was the producer, which was a lot of these, well, pretty much all of them, I think, were produced by Dale Griffin, who, obviously worked for the BBC, and was a drummer of Mott the Hopple, apparently. So yeah, in the various liner notes I've read, it doesn't sound like he particularly enjoyed recording grind bands, and especially like Napalm and Extreme Noise Terror. So yeah, poor chap. So I'll show you the band standing around looking tough. Yeah. Quality arms crossing from Mr. Whale. So Yeah, the second one's pretty good. The third one is War Master era. So, oh yeah, sorry, I should have held up the. Got to show off the beautiful Realm of Chaos. So the third one is better show off the old War Master. Yeah. Yeah, third one is War Master songs. Mostly, it's you get Destructive Infinity, which is it's the bonus track on the War Master CD, as well as the song War Master Afterlife, and you get like a redone version of Lost Souls Domain, which is originally from Realm of Chaos. Killer bloody song, one of my faves. The drums still sound a bit too loud on this, but it's probably the best sounding one, so it's pretty killer. Afterlife's probably actually the best sounding song on there, so. But I do like hearing the War Master version of Bolt Thrower do a Realm song with Lost Souls Domain. It's kind of slowed down a bit and pretty friggin' killer. So my overall verdict for this one, and I'll give verdicts on all these really. For this one, I reckon it's worth hearing for the first session, especially if you're In Battle There Is No Law one. But I mean, the other two, like you're not going to sound better than Realm of Chaos. No band sounds better than Realm of Chaos. One of my favourite albums, and one of my favourite productions, is just ridiculously heavy and detuned, whereas, yeah, you're not going to get that in a BBC studio, I don't think. So clarity is usually what you got for BBC, which helped on some of these, but yeah, Bolt Thrower kind of lost a bit of the grit that you get on the studio one. So, yeah, still interesting to hear, and if you're Bolt Thrower diehard, then, yeah, get it, but... yeah, overall, the album's better. Alright, up next is Extreme Noise Terror, with yet another non-traditional cover. This is actually a Japanese press with all three of their sessions on it. There is like the proper cover, if you know what I mean, version with just the first session. So on this you get 3 sessions, November 87, then May 88, and then February 1990. So pretty friggin' killer era for old Extreme Noise Terror. Now... like a batch of this stuff is, batch of it is from the Split with Chaos UK, as well as Holocaust in Your Head, the first album. There's some newer sort of songs on here from Filth Kick, obviously, which I'm not holding up, so I don't actually own much Extreme Noise Terror, except for this one, Phonophobia, which is only one song off that. So this is all Damage 381 and whatever I can't even remember what the other albums are called. So, I really enjoy this one, actually. This is really good. For some reason, the track listing on the back kind of mixes the first and the third sessions up, like some weird reason, and then all of the second ones right at the end. So, don't know why that was, but anyway. So I really like that sort of bass overload on the, Third World Genocide by Arms Trade. And obviously, I mean, these guys have the dual vocal attack. What's his name? Phil and Dean. And it's very, very effective. They both sound friggin' killer. I mean, these guys, if you don't know Extreme Noise Terror, they're, well, not really pure grind. It's more the sort of crust punk kind of, but still friggin' fast and nasty sort of style. I think Mick Harris from Napalm actually plays drums on the first one. And I'm not sure about the second one. They don't actually have the real lineups. But on the second one, I swear I can hear his sort of weird high screams that he did, and some of the drum rolls sound very similar, so I suspect he drummed on the second one as well. It doesn't really say anywhere, so... but yeah, his crazed high scream bits sound friggin' killer. But it also has a cover of Cockney Rejects, which stands out like a sore thumb. It's just like a normal punk song, and it's like, what's going on there? You know, with those guys singing on it, I don't know if their much harsher vocals really work on that sort of song, but it's still interesting to see. But I think Deceived is probably my favourite song on here. It's just raging, bloody hell. The second one is a bit muffled sounding. Maybe that's why it wasn't released before this version of it. This version's from, good question, 1996 by the look of it. I don't know, but so I think the LP version sounds good, and as I said, I don't actually... I mean, I have MP3s of the various albums, but I don't actually own them. I'm never quite sure which Holocaust in Your Head version to get, because there's like 3 different versions, I think, for some weird reason. I think they recorded it initially with Mick Harris drumming, and that was never released, and then there was one version released like a year later, and then for some reason they re-recorded the whole thing again another year or 2 later, and yeah... I tried buying it once, but they were they had it on their website, but it didn't actually have it in stock, which was a bit peeving, but anyway. These guys raging, nasty, punky sort of stuff. So I think this is definitely worth it for the third session, at least, like the 1991, because that just sounds friggin' killer. I mean, as I said, the albums themselves sound pretty bloody good as well, but yeah, definitely worthwhile. All right, next up we have Unseen Terror, and this is ye old classic sort of Peel session sort of thing with just a million different bands that did Peel sessions listed there, and just the band logo up the top. So yeah, Unseen Terror, if you don't know them, they were a somewhat short-lived grind band from England with Shane Embury from Napalm Death and many other bands, along with Mitch Dickinson, who was also in Heresy for a while. It was their sort of band together. They only did the one album, which is, what is it? Human Error. It's pretty friggin' killer, but there's some major problems with this one, I've got to say. The music, absolutely stellar. It's like total Repulsion worship. Fast as hell. Shane Embury's drumming on it, and Mitch does like guitars and vocals. Only one album. This one has, 4 songs of about, some of which are 2 or 3 songs jammed together. So there's not really much of this, but this one actually has the Peel session has Mick Harris on vocals as well, so like from Napalm, so which is eventful as usual. The problem with this is music's killer. That has electric drum, or I suppose electric drums. It just sound awful, way too loud. I mean, Shane's a very bloody good drummer. He's fast as hell on both of these things. And the guitars as well are like, I think Mick actually mentions it in the write-up for this, that he does, where I think the engineer was lazy and just, I don't know, plugged the guitar straight into the desk instead of doing something, I don't know. At any rate, it sounds odd. It really doesn't sound great, so... Yeah, this has always been, not quite there, especially sound-wise. I mean, musically, as I said, great. So, verdict on this, much better sound than the LP. This sounds absolutely killer. Both, the guitars and the drums just sound normal, so you can hear everything properly without this horrible, overly thudding sort of, plastic drums. Shane is, quick as hell on the blasts. If anything, the Mick singing on it's a little odd. He doesn't seem to do his really high-pitched, weird screams that he does in Napalm and Extreme Noise Terror, but I don't know. It's this weird style, and there is sort of gruff, growly singing, which I assume is Mitch, because they're both credited with vocals on this, so he sounds a lot better on this, so that's an added bonus. So, much better. So... I think this does have another unreleased track. Like, I don't think they got much else. There's like a rehearsal maybe or something. So I think Strong Enough to Change is a killer sort of unreleased song on this. It's, pretty cool. It has a nice sort of metal breakdown bit in it. Yeah, it's freaking ripper. So this one, mandatory. I mean, I would say don't even bother with this, but there's a shitload more songs on this. So it's still worth having. This is the definitive quality-sounding Unseen Terror. Bloody awesome. All right, next up, the Mighty Carcass. Now, this one I've had for donkey's years. This is the legit strange fruit one. They like to change their covers up quite a bit, and I love that bodgy bloody Carcass logo. So this one has the first session, which is like December 88. There is a second session as well, which is only, seems to be only on this Grind Madness one. It was recorded in December 1990, so pretty much symphony sort of era, and show off my record. So they're mostly symphony songs. There are a couple of Reek ones, which better not show too much of that one. It's a classic 3-piece lineup, Steer, Walker, and Owen, all doing vocals. So, it sounds pretty friggin' cool. The first session is 6 months before they recorded Symphonies of Sickness, so, the song's pretty bloody similar, like, in the format that they are. What do you get? Crepitating bowel erosion, slash dementia, cadaveric incubator of endoparasites, and reek of putrefaction. So, all Symphonies killer song. I mean, everything's killer on Symphonies, really. On this, the bass is a bit too loud, and for once the drums are a bit too quiet on this. But one of the highlights for me is the vocals, just the snarly Jeff Walker sort of ones. So just sounds way more insane than usual. Sounds killer. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just the clarity on this, but the start of Slash Dementia seems a bit different. Not vastly, but seem maybe longer. I don't know. Maybe it's just clearer. The second one that's on the second one on here, which has the songs Empathical Necroticism, Feticide, Fermented Innards, and Exhumed Consumed. So yeah, that's 2 Reek songs on there, which is kind of cool actually to have Reek Putrefaction songs recorded by, like Symphony sort of era, because they do sound different. Obviously Reek's got its special production, which is probably not to everyone's taste, but I love it, I don't mind. And I do like those, like Feeticide's one of my favourite of the songs off Reek. It's just killer. And yeah, there's some weird effects on the snarly vocals on that one. It's like, what's going on there? It's pretty odd. Fermenting Innards is that sounds tough as hell on it. It's like a bit slower, and obviously with not hard to be better production. Yeah, it sounds killer. The solo on it's like too loud and just totally over the top. It's beautiful. And then yeah, like they actually use a proper pitch shifter on it. It just sounds sick as hell. It's bloody awesome. It's a shame that they're not on this CD version, unfortunately, but that's still good to have. I would like there is a proper LP version of this with the cool Peel Session cover, but yeah, it ain't bloody cheap. I don't think I'll be tracking that one down. I think I'll live with this. Now there is some sort of BBC recorded ones on this one, which I've used the nice cover for. This is the Wake Up and Smell the Carcass compilation, which has I think it has some BBC radio rock show songs, so not John Peel ones, so they don't really count, and it's all songs off this album, which is not my favourite, so they don't really count. The old ones do. So my verdict: nothing touches Symphonies. As the evil sound, I don't know, it shouldn't be sound evil, but to me it does. Maybe it's just one of those things where when I first heard it was pretty early on in the piece for me, and I was like, oh, that's a bit weird sounding. But this is still friggin' killer. But yeah, as I said, on the get the box set version really, because you get 4 extra songs that friggin' rule. So yeah, good old Carcass, can't go wrong. Alright, next up we have Electro Hippies. Now the reason why this is all floppy is because I just got this in the mail, and the bottom's a little split, so the record is sitting down there. So yeah, this is another British sort of, grindy, fast corey, God knows what sort of thing. So this is from July 1987. So yeah, this is the band that Jeff Walker was in before this, from 86 to 87, I think. So he's not on this, but amusingly, they in the thanks list that comes with it, they thank Sanjeev for Thanks to Sanjeev for driving the van, and now Sanjeev was the original Carcass singer, if you're keeping score at home. So yeah, fun little crossover. So obviously they're good mates, I'll just say, probably from the same area. So yeah, this one, I do have this album, which you probably recognise, Only Good Punk is the Dead one, and I don't think any of which is actually from November or December 87, so only what's that, 4 months after the Peel session, and I don't think there's any songs on that from this. This is all old demo songs, so they did If Killing Babies is Tight, Killing Babies for Profit is even tighter, which is one of their demos. And also, there's the Play Fast or Die, which I think was just an EP or something or other. So, none of which I own. I have MP3s of them. I know what they sound like, and this sounds better. Let's put it that way. Their demos, they're never going to sound flash, but this sounds friggin' killer. You get 9 songs on this one, including good old Mega Armageddon Death, which is 1 second long. That's the one that was on the Grind Crusher compilation that Earache put out. There was a limited one that came with a 7-inch that had Napalm Death's You Suffer, which is 1 second, and then Electro Hippies Mega Armageddon Death, which is 1 second. So a 7-inch with like 2 seconds of music on it. I still want that just for the stupidity of it. Anyway, back to this. I do like these guys. They've got a really cool style where it's not... A lot of it is just sort of, fastish, hardcore-y sort of stuff. And then explosive bits of grind. So the whole thing isn't like fast, blasty grind, but occasionally it'll be like, whoa, yeah, that's pretty cool. So on this, I think there's a couple of songs on here couldn't see on anything else. So Starve the City to Feed the Poor. It's got some weird, like, yelled vocals, but it's very bloody fast. So these guys knew how to speed it up, that's for sure. So yeah, my verdict, better than both the demos, sound-wise. The album that I own sounds pretty freaking killer as well. So, but yeah, definitely worthwhile. All right, next up is Prophecy of Doom. They recorded, a couple of PL sessions. This one only has one. It was one recorded in like January 1990. So Prophecy of Doom were also from England, also kind of crusty, bit more death metal than grind, really. All their songs on this, you get 4 songs: Insanity Reigns Supreme, Earth Reality Victim, Rancid Oracle, and Hybrid Thought. All of them are on this. Acknowledge the Confusion Master, their first album, which I've had for donkey's years. This is a split with Axe Grinder for some weird reason. Guess it wasn't long enough to justify itself. So yeah, they did one session. They did do a second session, which isn't on this, and I have like download version of it. Has songs from their second album, Matrix, which I also don't own, which sounds pretty good, but this one, freaking killer. The vocals are a bit muffled on this, but yeah, with this, it's all about the bass. The bass is ridiculous. I mean, the bass sounds freaking killer on this. It's like this horrid snarl sort of thing. But on this, it's even better. It's just ridiculous. So yeah, these guys, crusty death metal-y sort of stuff. Think bit of bolt thrower about them, and yeah, which is no surprise. I'm pretty sure they were probably mates. They seem to have seen their name on various bills alongside bolt thrower, so definitely from the same vintage sort of thing. Honestly, the album's never really blown me away. I've had it for 20, 30 years or whatever, but every once in a while I crack it out and go, oh yeah, it's pretty good actually. But on this, yeah, just ridiculous. And one of the weird things about them is it's all gruff, deep sort of vocals, except when they do these weird, like, high, screamy sort of, I don't know what the hell's going on. It's the weirdest sound, and they reproduce it on this as well. So I thought it might be some studio trickery, but unless they did it again. So I think it's, what's the song? Earth Reality Victim has them, yeah. It's odd, for sure. And plus, I like that cover art. I was just looking at it thinking, that looks like Mid. Guy from Deviated Instinct that used to do, like, Napalm Death covers and Gorefest and Discord and Saxus. Sure enough, it's Mid. He's got a distinct style, so it's probably one of the better, Peel Sessions covers that isn't the classic sort of style. So yeah, this one, yeah, ridiculous. It's not quite as good a quality overall as the album, but for that stupid bass tone, yeah, highly recommended. Both are awesome, but yeah, this one rules. Alright, next up are ones that I don't actually own the proper peel session of, but I have them on this box set. So this, you can buy these put out on record as well. Like, I think they lump maybe Carcass and Godflesh together or something or other, and yeah, they combine a few ones, and they're all exactly the same cover, just with different block written logo at the top. So I've not bothered with those. I've got them on CD. That'll do. But yeah, one of the ones on here that wasn't actually released back in the day was Godflesh. So they did only one PL session, which is kind of a surprise. I kind of thought they'd do more, but I don't know. Maybe they didn't have a fun time. But so on that, it's got Tiny Tears, Wound, Not Wound, Pulp, and Like Rats. So all songs off Street Cleaner. Now, those first two ones, I've never quite understood it. This is like the OG CD that automatically came with extra tracks, like 4 extra tracks: Tiny Tears, Wound, Deadhead, and Suction, which apparently were a Tiny Tears EP that was not released. No idea why. They're not even credited on here as where they were recorded. Obviously, totally different sound than the rest of Street Cleaner, which strangely does say in there that it's 2 different sessions, so oh well. But yeah, so you get that. The Tiny Tears, I don't know, seemed to... At first I thought, oh, is that a bit faster? But no, I don't think so. I mean, it's... Obviously, the drum machine sounds very good on this. Who would have guessed? Plug and play. So yeah, I did think it was faster, but then I listened to Street Cleaner again and went, oh yeah, it's probably the same. The thumper riff in it still sounds friggin' killer. Wound sounds pretty good, but I think I prefer... I think there's a version of it on the Slave State compilation that I've got that I prefer. Although it does seem a bit more anguished in his vocals on this. I mean, Justin's always yeah, he's expressive, that's for sure. If anything, the guitar sounded a bit too distorted in parts, which is kind of a weird thing to say for Godflesh, but yeah, it just didn't quite gel for me. It does have Like Rats as well, which is like off proper Street Cleaner, like its first song on there, and yeah, the Peel version's bloody good, but the Street Cleaner one, that's an introduction to an album, that's for sure. So that one wins. But I tell you what, the highlight of this Peel Session version is Pulp, which is never really my all-time favourite on Street Cleaner. There's other ones I like much better, but on this, holy dooly, the bass is nicely booming, guitars kind of, they sound a bit different, they kind of like swoop in and out almost, but then there's like, it does build to a massive peak. I mean, it's a slightly odd song, it's got the same beat. I mean, most songs have the same beat on them, but it's the same beat all the way through. It's this sort of martial kind of weird for Godflesh sort of beat. But on the Peel Session version, it just builds and builds, and there's just more shit going on and on. There's like saxophone in there for some reason, which doesn't seem to be credited anywhere. I'm assuming it was either maybe Justin himself, or maybe they got like Kevin Martin or whatever his name is, or maybe it's John Zorn, I don't know, but it's crazy sounding stuff. He yells extra vocals on it. He just yells discipline a few times, which I did see someone reference Throbbing Gristle as doing that, so I wouldn't be surprised. I think that was quite the influence on young Mr. Broderick. But yeah, the version on this is way more intensive than the Street Cleaner one. So my verdict, definitely worth it for Pulp. If not, I mean, the other songs rule as well, but yeah, the Pulp version, bloody awesome. All right, next up is Heresy. I only have the Appeal Sessions on this. Apparently they did release, I think it's a compilation called 13 Rocking Anthems that had a couple of the Appeal Sessions on it. They did 3, so they did one in August 87, March 88, and then January 89. So I have a bit of Heresy. I have this split with Concrete Socks. There's like one song from this, so yeah, that's not really a good comparison. So most of it's from their Face Up To It album from 88, which I don't have, but it sounds pretty cool. I was glad to get this because this was actually the first time I heard Heresy before. I only got that, I don't know, this year, I think. And yeah, it was actually one of the bands. I mean, you know, I already had half of these before this came out, but Heresy, I was like, oh, sweet. I've always wanted to hear them. And the first song on this is called Flowers in Concrete. It's terrible. I don't know. It's like 3 minutes long. Has these derpy sort of sounding vocals on it. This sounds like pop punk, and it's like long, and then has this like weird rap biohazard-y sounding bit in the middle of it. It sort of sounds like fast mid-era Suicidals. And it was not what I was expecting. I always thought, oh, Heresy, yeah, early grindcore, nasty stuff. And I was like, what is this shit? Thankfully, the second song on this, what is it? Belief. Yeah, that's straight into your super fast, hardcore, you know, Siege sort of style. So then I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Now I understand. But yeah, that first song, oh, dude, what's going on there? That seems to be one of the old songs as well, so I don't know. Maybe they were trying something different. Honestly, I've never been a giant fan of the vocals of these guys. I think the third session from 89's a bit more metal, so the vocals sound marginally better on it. So, yeah, it's tough to do a proper verdict on this because I don't actually own Face Up To It. So, yeah, both sound pretty bloody good. Let's put it that way. All right, the next one on this that I don't actually own the original of is Intense Degree, another British band. Sort of, early grindy sort of style. So their pure session was February 88, and then the actual album, and I think their only album possibly, is October 88. So I don't really know this one all that well. I've only got this reasonably recently. So, very fast hardcore with some blast. Let's just put it that way. So it's kind of difficult to compare them really because the levels on this are so much higher, but they sound pretty similar. So guitars maybe slightly louder on the pure sessions one, so maybe that'd win, but this is pretty freaking killer as well. So my verdict, not really sure. Both sound great. All right, I nearly forgot this one because I did only get it pretty recently. This is Pitch Shifter with their pure sessions 91 to 93. So this did actually only get properly released maybe this year, no, last year. Sorry. So they did 2 sessions. They did April 91 and March 93. So 2 kind of different eras for them. I think it was pretty much the same lineup. Maybe one of them was a bit different on that. That's right. They do actually have a drummer on the second one. The first one is Submit era, so pretty damn tasty era for me. This one was like, what is it? A couple of months later, actually, after this. So the versions on this are slightly different. This one has, you get gritter, tendril, and dry riser inlet. So, as I think I said in my review when I bought this, dry riser inlet sounds quite a bit different. There's, his vocals sound different on it, and the newer version sounds way better, let's put it that way. So, I was marginally disappointed with this overall, I gotta say. On the first session, the vocals are a bit deeper, they're sort of a bit more industrial style, so it's John, when he'd obviously recently joined, I think, so I'm sure he was trying to sound industrial, but got a little snarlier and, higher pitched later on. I mean, obviously later on he got quite a bit different, but early Pitch Shifter's still my favourite, I'd say. So, but unfortunately, I mean, the drum machine sounds pretty killer, unsurprisingly, but it's a bit loud, actually, and the guitars are a bit quiet, which is a shame, because that's some awesome sort of lead work, kind of squeal work back in those days, so not the huge winner. The second one is Desensitized Era, like the album after Submit, which is killer. I like that one. It's them branching out into more electronic weirdness as well, getting not as heavy, that's for sure. So on this you get Higher Form of Killing, Diablo, and Deconstruction, which is a redone version of a slightly older song. I actually really like the extra kind of drum programming that they put on this. I mean, there is a percussionist listed, but they've obviously put a bit more extra stuff on there. That sounds pretty killer, actually. Diablo, though, unfortunately, it kind of lacks the fullness of the album, and I mean, it's no surprise, really. I mean, the industrial sort of stuff is generally going to sound better with a full studio recording, I think. It is kind of cool to hear Deconstruction, which is like an older song done with, kind of souped up into their slightly more modern sounding sort of style. So that's pretty good, but overall the verdict, studio's better. With the density, considering the density of the music and all the effects and so on that they use, the studio one's bound to be better. So still, don't get me wrong, this is still bloody good. If you're a Pitch Shifter fan, definitely get this, but if you're not a fan and you're into industrial metal and you haven't heard it, early Pitch Shifter, get the albums. They're bloody raw. All right, you're probably sitting there going, he's always rambling on about bloody Napalm Death peel sessions. Why haven't you done them yet? Well, now we have. This is the shit, let's put it that way. So Napalm did 3 proper peel sessions. They did one in August 87, which is, 3 months after the B-side of Scum. Then they did a second one in March 88, which is, what's that? It's a couple of months before From Enslavement. And then they did a third one in August of 1990, which is a couple of months after Harmony Corruption. So pretty damn good eras. So you get like the Lee Dorian and Bill Steer on the first 2, and then Barney and Mitch and Jesse on the third one. They did do a 4th session in like 96, but it's like a rock show one. It wasn't it was Friday rock show, so it wasn't proper pure session. And I mean, it's like Diatribe's era, so which I do have a soft spots for, but we're not counting that one. So this version that I've got here is the second version, so it's got the first two sessions on it. I do actually have the CD, which has all three sessions on it. So, and with the proper Peel sessions, they've done them so there's like 4 songs, even though there's like 3 songs per song, if you know what I mean. So there's 12 tracks on here, and yeah, this is godlike sort of stuff. Let's just put it that way. The first session on this, untouchable. It is my go-to. If someone said, what does grind sound like, I would play them that. The drums are too loud. Mick's screams are just totally over the top. It's beautiful stuff. If anything, Lee's kind of a bit lacking on it. I don't know, his vocals don't quite sound right on it. And obviously, because the drums are so loud, which I love, the guitars are slightly suffer as well. But yeah, on the first one, I mean, it starts with the kill. So it's a perfect session. And I mean, the reason why all these things are on bloody Pure sessions, when they're doing like, Fleetwood Mac and lots of normal sort of bands, is John Peel just had a thing for late 80s grind sort of stuff. So he was a big fan, and obviously Earache probably fed him as many promos as possible, because there was a lot of Earache related bands on there, that's for sure. So and I think from the sound of it, John Peel, I think he had a late night sort of show as well. So I think he had pretty much carte blanche to play whatever the bloody hell he wanted. So, and this is like BBC, the proper broadcaster of the whole country, and he's playing like, The Kill, then Prison Without Walls, then Dead. And apparently he'd play them multiple times a night because they're not very long. I mean, the first one, the first session is 55 seconds, then 1 minute 45, then 1 minute 5, then 1 minute 55. So it's like 8 minutes long or whatever the hell that was, less actually. So really not very long. So I love thinking of the poor, unsuspecting British public getting this all, extreme noise terror rammed down their throat. It's beautiful. At any rate, back to Napalm. Yeah, the first session just so over the top, so beautiful, but really good bloody sound for Napalm. I mean, Scum... Yeah, Scum's 2 different sessions anyway, both of which are, not the greatest sounding, really. So this is my go-to. I go to this all the bloody time. The second session is a bit more balanced sort of sound. Guitars just have this killer snarl to them. And so this is, what was this? Before From Enslavement, I think. So... you still get a few songs off that, but actually a lot of it, I mean, you get the classic multinational corporations into Instinctive Survival, which is pretty cool. There's a whole, one of the songs, which is 3 minutes long, is like, what's that, 4 SOB, like the Japanese grind band, just 4 SOB covers just for the hell of it, which absolutely rule. Raging in Hell, it's just, so bloody good. I don't think, do they actually do... Oh, yeah, that's right. The first one finishes with You Suffer as well. Ooh, part two according to the back. It's still the same, pretty short bit. So, but yeah, the second one, just as raging, really. It's bloody awesome. The drums, not quite as ridiculously loud, but still pretty killer. The third one, which is like Barney era, on that you get... It's interesting. You almost get like the hit songs that they didn't do on the first couple ones. Like they didn't do Scum on like the 2 Lee Dorian era ones, which was a bit of a shame, I thought, because he never actually got to. I don't know I think he did record Scum on like maybe it's just a live thing. I don't know, but because I mean it's Lee Dorian's not on the first side of Scum, so the song Scum, Barney gets to do it. This also has From Enslavement to Obliteration, Unchallenged Hate, which wasn't on the first 2 sessions. Maybe they hadn't written it at that point. I mean, it is a couple of months before From Enslavement was recorded, so maybe they were late ones. I think Social Sterility is another favourite on here that Barney gets to do. And, there are multiple versions of Deceiver, at least, which is such a ruling song. So this doesn't actually have that much off Harmony Corruption. It's got Suffer the Children. I think that's about it, really. So it's mostly older songs. And it does have Mentally Murdered as well, which is pretty cool to hear because, I don't know, the Mentally Murdered EP just kind of gets forgotten about by Napalm a lot. I was glad to see him play at probably last time I saw her, I think they did Walls of Confinement, which is pretty cool, but I don't know. I love that EP. It's a bloody ripper. So this one, I do like it as well. Like, it sounds pretty bloody good for them. It's much better. It's not that sort of Morrisound production at all. So sounds pretty cool from that point of view. And there's some extra weird vocal bits that Mick puts on. He does some of the screaming bits and just weird. I'll just say a line or two. There's a cool bit that he does on. I think it's on Social Sterility of excuse me. He goes, "How bloody chuffed is John Peel?" It's just so stupid but so cool. So honestly, yeah, mandatory. If you like Napalm Death, bloody get this. This is probably not the easiest to get. There's another version of this as well with like a head on the cover or something or other that I think it's a complete BBC sessions, which just has the first three plus that other 96 one as well. But yeah, I mean, they're all on this as well as the last resort. But yeah, this, I was so glad to finally track this down. I've had a tape of it for, 35 years or whatever, or something ridiculous. So I was very happy to finally get the proper version of this. Yeah, this is the greatest Peel session without doubt. Bloody awesome. All right, a couple of Peel sessions that aren't very metal related, or not at all, to tell the truth. The first one's Dead Can Dance, like amazing band that I'm a huge fan of. I don't actually own their Peel session. It was released on a reissue of this one. This is Garden of the Arcane Delights. Unfortunately, this is the original one, so it doesn't actually have the Peel session on it, but the reissue one does, so I'll be tracking that down. So yeah, they're weird. Like in those days, actually, this era is like, I think this is 85 or something. I think this is after the first album, so bloody early. So they're still kind of goth rocky sounding on this. I think one of the songs on this gets done on the Peel session. I think Carnival of Light does, but there's a few sort of unreleased-y kind of tracks that aren't too bad, but one of them is Penumbra, which I think they renamed to Avatar for Spleen and Ideal, the second album, and I love that song. So the Peel session version's pretty good, but they're one of those bands that doesn't quite. They need a better studio or a longer time in the studio to do their magic, really. So yeah, the verdict, which is a bit rude to give when I don't actually own it, is yeah, the album versions are better probably, but they're one of those bands that always did different songs live as well, like that. The Toward the Within album has several songs that aren't on anything else. It's just like, oh, yeah, live version. The other one that I realise I own, but I'm not that familiar with this, to tell the truth. I might have owned it for like 10, 15, 20 years, but yeah, I've got to listen to this more. This is our Cocteau Twins, which is a British, another sort of, I don't know, kind of goth rock. I think they were one of the early shoegaze sort of bands, or I think their subgenre is dream pop, which is actually very fitting for these guys. So it's like super lush guitars. It's all clean. There's like no distortion. No, it's not metal in the slightest. And beautiful like female vocals that are kind of operatic, but really ethereal as well. She's got a weird style. I think it's sort of sings in her own weird language, so sort of glossolalia. I don't know. It's very hard to distinguish what she's singing about. I know the sort of the lyric. Oh, I know the vocals, but not necessarily the lyrics. So yeah, this is a batch of different Peel sessions they did. There's got about 4 Peel sessions on it, plus some other random odds and sods. Most of this is like 82 to 84, and then they sort of jumped to 96 for the last couple of them. So pretty similar era. Most of it's either Garlands, which I don't actually own, or a lot of it is from Head Over Heels, and also I think this one I've got a compilation which also has Sunburst and Snowblind. I think they do pretty much all of that EP. So sounds pretty bloody good. I won't give it a verdict because I don't really know the live version all that well. I need more Cocteau Twins really. I've got Treasure, and unfortunately they don't do anything off this. This is like a compilation of 2 EPs they put out pretty much at the same time, Tiny Dynamite and Echoes in a Shallow Bay. This one is my favourite of theirs. It's like from 85, so it's just after they did these Peel sessions and so on, and freaking rules. I don't know, there's just something magical sounding about these guys. It's lush. It's the best way to put it. And surprisingly, there's only one song off their sort of hit album, Heaven or Las Vegas. There's one song on here which is what's the song? Musset and Drums, maybe, or I don't know, where is it? I thought I wrote all those down. Maybe not. Oh no, there we go. Sorry. 50-50 Clown. They had some weird names of their songs. That's the only song that they did off that album. I don't know, maybe it's a bit too layered, a bit too dense and difficult to reproduce all the layering. You know, I mean, most of these Peel sessions were done in a day. It was sort of like, get in, bloody record your 4 songs and piss off sort of thing. So, but the Cocteau Twins, beautiful band. And actually, this does have a slight reference to Napalm Death. Not really. But in the Live Corruption video of Napalm Death, which is a live gig, which is killer, it's got all these bits in between of interviewing the band. There's a classic bit of Mick Harris rambling on about all their influences, and Cocteau Twins is the first band he mentions. They're like, this does not sound like Napalm Death at all. So maybe it's just music that they like listening to. So yeah, I'd highly recommend this, but I highly recommend many of their albums, really. I need to track a bit more down of Cocteau Twins. Sadly defunct now, but yeah, a bit acrimonious at times, I think, but amazing, beautiful, ethereal music. It's lovely stuff. So the only other Peel session I have really is this Mass, which I got as a bonus in, I can't even remember where from, Discogs maybe, or someone or other. Thanks, whoever slapped this in for free, which I've listened to once, so that does not count. Only other one I'll mention is Hemorrhage. Now, this is not actually a Peel session, and this is unfortunately the CD version. The LP version of this has the classic sort of Peel session proper cover. This is just them, the Kill sessions as they call it. It's just live recording of Hemorrhage, really. So I'll put a picture up of the proper, the LP version of it. So, but yeah, as I said, there's still a batch I kind of want to track down, like the Doom one for sure. Those hardcore Holocaust ones, even though I've already got most of them, really. The other ones, they look kind of cool. And it'd be nice to listen to all the differing sort of bands from about the same era, one after the other sort of thing. So, but yeah, there's some damn fine stuff out there. As I said, like, Strange Fruit released a lot of it, but not all of it. So I don't know where a lot of the other bands are. I think the Cure one was released properly. They still released a lot of stuff, but there's a lot more Peel sessions than actually released ones, so I don't know where the rest of them are. I had a quick scroll through the very long Wikipedia page that I'll put a link to below, which lists all the bands, and there was no sort of standout ones that, I never heard of, I didn't realise Slayer did one or anything like that. There's nothing like that, so, but yeah, actually, I wouldn't mind hearing the Nirvana one. I wonder what era that is, so yeah, I'll try and track down some more. I don't know if I'll bother buying them, but I'll definitely have a listen. So I'll try and put links to these down below, like all the earache ones. I mean, the ones on this are all online, so I'll put those. I don't know about Prophecy of Doom and the other bands, but we'll see. But yeah, thanks again to Josh for the idea. It was a bloody good one. He's actually come up with a few good ones. So some of my future ones might be from his mind to you. So my next video will probably be a collection update one, I'd say, because September is over in a couple of days, so hopefully not too many more records arrive on Monday and Tuesday, but we'll see. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Cheers.